Good evening, welcome to the Dugout. Today we're coming a little bit earlier than expected. We have done that primarily because every time you say we are late today, so we thought let's be early today. So we're compensating for every time that we used to be late, we are early. But jokes apart, we're coming early also because there's a lot of activity that's going to be happening at our usual Dugout time. The Indian women's team is going to be arriving, landing in New Delhi, so we'll have those live pictures for you from the airport, and then they'll be reaching their hotel where one of us is going to be sending us some exclusive interviews from the hotel. So all of that we are looking forward to. So many things happening that we thought let's just bring the Dugout a bit early, and that also allows us to address other things apart from the Indian women's team winning the World Cup. But before we get to the big question today, and that question, as you know, as our title also suggests, it's self-explanatory. We're talking about another Asia Cup coming after the fiasco, the controversies, the tamasha that you saw in an Asia Cup that just happened. There's another Asia Cup coming, and there is an India-Pakistan encounter there. Is it prudent to be having another India-Pakistan encounter in this environment where there has been a lot of tutu meme, a lot of finger pointing, a lot of unsavory things being said? Clearly it's not the ideal time, and you played the Asia Cup, you know how much of criticism that invited. Should you be having another Asia Cup, and this one is the emerging rising star Asia Cup, whatever you might like to call it, that is happening. What is the need to have it? Should you be having it? Could India have pulled out of this, especially after what happened in the Asia Cup? Those are the questions that we'll try and address. We'll love to take your comments as well. But before we get to that, because women's cricket is the theme of the day, I thought let's also talk about that. And one thing has been bothering me for the last day and a half, and there shouldn't be anything that should be bothering us after their World Cup winning performance. But there was one thing, and that was the girl from Delhi. And it's not because she's from Delhi, but a young girl who did so well for her country, played majority of the games, far more many games than, let's say, Shefali, taking nothing away from Shefali, by the way, but I'm just looking at the logic. Played far more games than Shefali. Played a crucial knock in that virtual quarterfinal versus New Zealand. Gets injured. Reaches, helps the team reach the semi-final, and then is replaced. Pratika is who I'm talking about, and she does not get a winner's medal. That is the question. And that's the thing that's been bothering me, and I thought I'll turn to my learned colleagues who may, help me see another picture, some technicalities, some rules that I'm not aware of. Yes, why has she not got a medal is what I want to know.
Well, just, of the many ills that exist in our sport, this is another ill to which there should be a cure, but nobody's really talking about. Again, it will make for some conversation right now, but I doubt if there's going to be a rule change after this incident. Well, also not the first time that we're seeing something like this across sport. In fact, you see many leagues have these rules. You've got to play so many games for you to be having a premiership medal at the end of it. Like yes, it does. So like in the Premier League,
but there are certain matches, right? But so if somebody has played certain matches, they get it, na?
Yes. So the Premier League has, I think, minimum of 5 appearances for you to be eligible for a winner's medal at the end. Pratika
out of 38 matches, 5 is all you need to get a winner's medal.
And mind you, he said appearances. So you don't even have to start. You can literally make 5 appearances on the bench and you're granted a winner's medal.
Absolutely.
So long as you've gone on the pitch.
Yes.
5 times. A whole season of 38 matches.
Yes.
5 times on the pitch and you get a Premier League medal.
Yes.
This girl has played all matches, barring the semis and the final.
Yes, she played all the matches through the group stage, played a vital role as well. Forget that. Your contribution can vary. Again, you may not have a fruitful group stage, but you may as well play the innings of the tournament in the semi-final or the final, as was the case with the Jemima. So nothing to do with the proportional contribution of a player, just the fact that you're part of a winning team, that the fact that you were there, you stood the ground, you represented your nation not once but multiple times. That makes for and if your team's going ahead and crossing the final hurdle, should be a worthy recipient of the winner's medal.
You're talking about football. I recently came across another example because it concerns a player from my team, Chelsea, Estevao Willian, 18-year-old kid making waves, Brazilian. Yeah. He joined Chelsea this summer, technically from Palmeiras. Now, Palmeiras happened to be also in the Copa Libertadores, which is the South American variant of the Champions League, because he played group stage matches for them. If they go on to win the trophy, he'll get a medal. And he's not even technically in Palmeiras anymore. So, why is it that ICC, sticks to this, I don't know, I can't even call it a Stone Age kind of rule.
Yeah, it's an archaic rule.
Yeah, it's very archaic. Yeah. It's like, you got replaced to deal with that. I'm sorry. And again, this is something I'll again come back to. I remember in the 2023 World Cup, Pandya got injured. Hardik Pandya got injured, right? If India had won the final, even he wouldn't have had a winner's medal. It's very terrible. Weird because he played practically every game prior to the semi. I don't know when he got knocked out midway, but whatever games he was there, he should have been this thing. And it's such a weird injustice, right? There were players on that side who didn't play a game. If India had won, they would have gotten a winner's medal. Isn't it a bit of an injustice that, and this is no disrespect, but Arundhati Reddy, who's part of the squad, didn't play a single game, gets a winner's medal. Pratika played games, scored 304 runs, I think, if memory serves me right, including a century, doesn't get a winner's medal.
By the way, nothing against Arundhati, she deserves it.
Of course, no.
She's part of the squad, nothing. But our point is, why not add another medal rather than taking it away from someone?
Yeah, why does it have to be
How much does it cost? Like ICC made millions of dollars from this tournament.
See, this has nothing to do with the money, I think. Again,
the rule.
One medallion. Yeah, I think the rule is if a player gets so because the technicality being because she was no longer part of the squad. It was a 15-member squad again, and it took a player from outside to come replace her, and she went out. She wasn't in the 15. So the rule said only the 15 that were part of the campaign. And Pratika Rawal wasn't on the bench. She was replaced from the squad. And that's the technicality there, because it's a player that has gone out of the scheme of things, is no longer part of that 15 draft, doesn't get a medal.
No, I understand, but I think this rule needs to be relooked. It needs to be addressed. I can understand that if you got out of the squad before the tournament started, then it's fine. You had no role to play in the tournament. You were replaced. That's fine. Once the tournament starts, and maybe you can have a rule that once the tournament starts, fine, as soon as a player makes an appearance in a game, that should be it. Then he or she is part of that World Cup. You can even say that, okay, if you were just sitting out and got replaced from the squad without having played a single game, that also I will buy. That's also fine. But it's like just to look at an example. In 2011, I remember Praveen Kumar was initially part of the squad, but then he got injured and he got replaced before the tournament started by Srishant. Srishant, I think, replaced him. And then he does not get, it's fine, because he played no role in that World Cup. If Pratika Rawal, I'm saying in her case though, she's played many a games and match winning knocks at that, but even if she had just stepped onto the field and played as an official, not as a substitute fielder, but as an official member of the team in the 11, even one game, I think he or she should be considered. This is something that they need to relook at. I can't understand why. I mean, you just gave an example of Premier League where they just play 5 games in a
and in a tournament as short as, let's say, your Asia Cups, your Champions Trophy, World Cup, again, you're talking about just 9 matches. Perhaps there shouldn't be any room for, like the Premier League, it's a long season, 38 matches, which is why you have a cut-off of sorts of 5, let's say. I think even one game should count. Don't have these 2, 3, 4 appearances thing as well, because just extending the logic over there as well, Shane. By that logic, if India were to win the 2023 World Cup, Ravichandran Ashwin was in that side only for that low wicket in Chennai, and he didn't play a role after that. Now, if India were to win, then Ravichandran Ashwin wouldn't have gotten the medal. If you were to have a rule wherein you've got to have played at least 3 matches in a World Cup winning campaign, don't have this. Every player has a role to play in a campaign. It could be 1 match, it could be 7 match, 8 match, whatever.
No, I'm saying anyone who's part of the squad, okay, and has not gone out of the squad throughout the duration of the tournament, even if he or she doesn't play a single match, they will get a medal, fine. Only for the player who has been replaced in the middle of the tournament or at the start, I mean, as in I'm saying within 1 or 2 games or middle or towards the end, but had played a game, for a replaced player who's gone out but has played a game, then technically he or she has contributed. then he or she should be considered separately.
Just
That
saying,
is the
hypothetically, if there's a team that has the highest run scorer of a tournament, you know by a country mile that player is winning the player of the tournament or whatever, the most run scorer of the tournament award, gets injured on the eve of the final or the semi-final,
let's take
gets
2011.
replaced.
Let's say Yuvraj Singh didn't play a role in the final, right?
Then
let's say he got injured.
And was replaced by somebody.
Exactly.
Replaced, not benched, replaced.
Maybe
Yeah.
for the final you needed because he got a serious injury, let's say in semi.
Then you wouldn't have given him the
that-
player of the tournament award.
I mean, see what the Indian team did technically. I think for Ashish Nehra, he got injured in the
Semi-final, yeah.
So they didn't replace him because they said we'll play with a backup bowler and we'll play the final. Had he been replaced, then he wouldn't have got the medal.
In fact,
that was bizarre.
I was just doing some research to try and see if this is true across sports. I think even FIFA has a similar rule. I could be wrong, but I was just doing some searching, and I remembered that in the midst of the 2022 World Cup, France had Karim Benzema injured midway through the tournament, but they didn't replace him in the squad. Why? Because if they had gone on to win it, and if he was replaced in the squad, he wouldn't have gotten a World Cup winners medal, and that's pretty much the only thing missing from his.
The only difference, Shane, is that in football you have such big squads that you can afford
24, 26 members.
Here
squads
you're
is what
just
you have.
15, exactly. So you really need to replace. I mean, the only logic I can think of and why this rule may have been in place is that to deter teams from making that replacement. So, for example, let's say you've been playing 15 players, and towards the latter half of the tournament, the conditions have changed. So where you're playing, the final conditions are different, and you now think I need to use the 16th member. I need to bring in someone and you can fake an injury and go out. But this will probably deter you from faking that injury, because if you try and exploit that rule by pushing him out, bringing the 16th member, you run the risk of that member not getting a winner's medal. So I think I'm just trying to look at a logic. Maybe the logic only exists so that it deters team from making these finding these loopholes or just removing a player. They'll only remove a player where he's genuinely injured, because then they will not be given a winner's
Could be. I think that's a nice theory.
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to think of a logic that,
Yeah.
but I still think, I mean, you could find a way. Somebody who's played a tournament and played a role, even if they played one game, something you can reconsider.
And also in today's day and age, it's much harder to fake these injuries. I mean, the scans, etc., would be going to.
that
Yeah.
only do.
Yeah.
Then you can fake it.
I was about to say that, which is why, again, while you were saying that, it took me very briefly right now, it took me back to the time we were having that discussion about, external injuries like Pant had suffered, you should allow subs. Again, because I know how the sport is governed and how things are, there will never be a fine way and impartial way of really, or a very, a very to the T correct way of you being very sure whether it's authentic or not, whether it's being judged rightly or not.
So then I take you back to what the legal system says. They say now that you are innocent unless proven guilty, right? There is a reason why you have that, because to put an innocent man for punishment is much worse than someone who's guilty and is let off. So you want to err on the other side. You don't want to punish an innocent man. That is the last thing you want to do. Maybe in that manner, let's say someone who's guilty gets away is still better. I think that is the logic. So what I'm saying is, in this case, while there is I thought of the other way, is maybe so that they don't fake and that loophole will remain. But I think in the larger scheme of things, it's more injustice not to give a player a winner's medal who's participated in a tournament, then allowing for this loophole to be exploited, and maybe somebody uses that to their advantage. But at least you're not harming the player who's participated. So I know this problem will be there, but I'd rather have this problem than this problem of not allowing a player who's participated getting
And also, we're talking about that whole grey area. Rishabh Pant has in public admitted that when he went down in the T20 World Cup final, he was faking it.
Yeah.
He's publicly admitted it. You're okay with that gamesmanship, but this is where we draw the line. Oh, we can't give a fake medal. Pant himself has admitted it. I'm not making it up. He's gone on top.
I won't be surprised where cricket's also headed in a direction where now in the Premier League, at least I know, there are rules that there's only so much time you can spend on the pitch getting treated. You play with a man shot, you won't get treated. Closest byline, go over there, get yourself treated.
And there is, by the way, a loophole to even that rule. You know what the loophole is? The going off the field thing is applicable to every player except the goalkeeper. Which is why nowadays the goalkeepers will mysteriously go down clutching their heads.
It's funny we're talking about it just today. I'm just saying how it's all percolated. See, these things have a lot of impact. because this, time wasting, this gamesmanship, you've seen it with Rishabh Pant, you see it in tennis as well. Today I was having a conversation with my daughter. She had a final today, so she lost her final. I believe she's playing an under 10 tennis final, right? And her coach said, and she was narrating it, she's leading some 9-2 or something, and the girl takes extra breaks in the middle. And, she's like, I'm about to serve, she'll say, no, wait. And she's like, for 10 seconds she'll wait, and she said she did it multiple times. Not that she understands what is happening. I can.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, how kids really take to what is happening. I'm not saying that it would have impacted either one of them. Maybe it did not. Maybe it had no effect. But it's just that you want to emulate your heroes so much. Anything that you see that, okay, when you're trailing, you're supposed to do that. And this is a smart thing to do.
You get under the skin. Whatever, they may not be able to understand the technical aspect or the fact that this.
She never got under the skin. So maybe my daughter didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
So she didn't get perturbed. And maybe she played normally. And maybe she genuinely did make a comeback. But I'm saying she had that in her mind that this is what she's supposed to do. So she was like, what was the referee doing? He said, referee kept telling her, you can't do that, you can't do that. And after some time, because it's like, kids, he said, I can't do anything. Let her do it. Because
there can't be any sanctions.
Exactly. But I'm saying, imagine how much kids. And see, this is what happens. You see a Joko do that, right?
The toilet breaks.
Correct.
Yeah.
You see a Pant do it. You see, whatever you see, it just is picked up as the gospel by the kids who are watching.
You see a lot of times in kids playing, if they'll get fouled, they'll roll. Where do they learn that from?
Yeah.
You learn from who?
When you see on slow-mo, when the replays, multiple replays, VAR, etc. show you the hands hit over here, players clutching his nose, going down the field. What do you learn as little kids, yaar?
Yeah. Their players are getting slapped here and he's holding his abdomen. No, come on, yeah. He's on the right place. One time a player gets stepped on his left foot, he's holding his right foot. I'm like, what? Come on.
Okay, let's turn our attention to the topic at hand, and that is the Rising Asia Cup.
Rising Stars
Asia Cup, which was called the Emerging Asia Cup. The team for that was announced today. Those details are up on Sports Today, you can check out, but we're discussing a different topic altogether. I don't know about you guys, but I do find it a bit awkward, a bit uncomfortable, maybe because I was there during the Asia Cup in Dubai and I saw everything unfold. It was quite unsporting, like things that were happening there. Whichever way you look at it, some things that the Indian team did, something that the Pakistan team did, whatever was happening, I've said it before as well, was not in the right spirit of the sport, and it got uglier by the day. It reached a situation where Mohsin Naqvi has, I'm for a lack of a better word, stolen the trophy and taken it home. That sort of a scenario it reached, which I thought is rather strange. Now, all those things have happened. After he's stolen the trophy, there was a soundbite of him which has gone viral, for which he got an award. The guy who's awarding him is also praising him for stealing the trophy. Yeah. It's reached that ugly, sort of a situation. My point is, if it's reached that, why was the need for you to even send a team? And agreed, I've often said that you need to play big tournaments like ICC because you don't want to isolate yourself. Why should we sit out and Pakistan continues to play till such time you can remove them? You'll have to play. Okay, those things I still understand. This is still a practice emerging rising star tournament. Do you really need to send a team? Worse still, they've put India and Pakistan in the same group here as well. Again, which you do. It's clearly showing you that you want ratings, you want that. And you're still allowing your Indian team to be going and playing against Pakistan. I find this really awkward, very surprising. I don't want to be subscribing to this, but I don't know what the thought process is.
See, there had been enough time between the Asia Cup of this year and the Pahalgam attack. It wasn't as much as it was for Pulwama, but yes, there was a decent amount of time, and we waited a long time for the final schedule to come out and all. So whatever happened this time, and eventually the teams ended up playing each other thrice, I think knew what was coming their way, and there was nothing really surprising in terms of the teams playing each other thrice. Almost sort of, you knew when the schedule was out. You could have avoided the two teams playing each other in the group stage, but for commercial reasons, that was never going to happen, and it didn't happen. What have we seen after that? We've seen the Sultan of Johor Cup take place as well, where again the India-Pakistan clash happened. You've also seen tennis tournaments overseas in which India-Pakistan clashes have happened. You just heard from Hockey India General Secretary yesterday that no, we will go ahead and play Pakistan, not just play Pakistan. We will not necessarily follow what the cricket teams have done, because we're not governed by cricket. We will do the customary, we'll follow the Olympic charter, and as per the Olympic spirit, the spirit of the sport, we will go ahead, shake hands and do the high fives as well. This is what our stand is. When all of this is happening, I don't think the Asia Cup also surprises me. Again, you warmed up to China over the course of the last couple of months also. I don't hear any calls of there being no tourism towards Turkey, or there being again isolation towards Azerbaijan also. So there is a sense of normalcy to many things. Some things are accepted. With sport, you've come to a point, and cricket in particular, that these multinational tournaments will take place. So if they will take place, and whatever messaging had to be sent out, I believe has already been sent out. At that time, things were still very raw. Now a lot of times elapsed, and I think it may not necessarily be played in the backdrop of Pahalgam.
No, I'm not getting into the Pahalgam and what other sports are doing. That's fine. That's a different debate altogether, which is, many will say that, some may say it doesn't matter. Sport is not, greater than the country. So let's not play whatever. That's fine. Some might say that, listen, sports will carry on. How long can we keep sitting out, from international? We'll play. That's fine. I'm now talking specifically of cricket and BCCI. BCCI is at loggerheads at the moment, right? Forget what is happening at the international level, diplomatically between the two countries or whatever. That's for everyone else to decide. I'm just talking in particular about BCCI. If you just look at, if I'm BCCI, if I'm the BCCI secretary, I'm what? I heard the BCCI secretary just yesterday give a statement about the trophy. Firstly, listening to that statement, he was so helpless. We keep talking about BCCI, the biggest board, we are this, we'll flex our muscles. His entire statement was so helpless that we've asked him, give us the trophy. He's not giving us the trophy. We have said, if you don't, we will go to ICC, we will do that. You are sounding so helpless as BCCI. So if that is the case, then don't come and tell us that when this meeting happened, we were very stern, we said these things. Don't tell us all that, because what's coming across now is that you're very helpless. He has dictated that he's not going to give a trophy. You've tried everything, nothing is happening. So now you're going to the headmaster, which is the ICC, and saying, please, sir, he has hit me, punish him. That sort of a thing you're doing, because you can't deal at the moment with the situation. Now with the ICC, whatever happens, we'll wait and find out. By the way, the ICC meeting is on as we speak. It's on for the next 4 days. So in 4 days, there is a possibility that the BCCI raises it. Something is done to Mohsin Naqvi. I don't know. Must also tell you, Mohsin Naqvi himself is not attending this meeting. He said the CEO of PCB to go and attend the meeting. Anyway,
citing what, some political tensions.
Whatever be the reason, but my point is, he is sticking to his gun. Now he is saying, I'm not giving the trophy back. I'm also not going to the meeting where you'll try and corner me. I'm not going. I will not give the trophy. I think he's maintained that. You are now trying to find other ways. So firstly, you sound very helpless. I don't know what the ICC is also going to do, because I'm yet to hear about what is the fine for Sahibzada Farhan and Haris. Till now, nothing has anything come out. Has anything come out about them delaying the game for 1 hour? Nothing has come out. Maybe it happens in this ICC meeting. We'll wait and watch. A lot of water has flown under the bridge since that Asia Cup to now, but let's see if something comes concrete. But as of now, nothing has happened. He's kept the trophy. Now, when the situation is such, I'm just talking about from BCCI point of view. I don't know. If I was there, I would not want to be playing.
But there's so much. There's only so much that the BCCI can do. I'm looking at it. There's something else that's about to happen in a few weeks, and it ideally should be happening right now. Where is the schedule for the T20 World Cup? People have to plan. It's not just India's World Cup, it is the world's World Cup. It's the cricketing community's World Cup. No, but this is no way. Again, and when that's going to happen, I remember, I think it was for the England World Cup, or even the World Cup that you had before this one, tickets were announced well in advance, a year in advance. You had proper countdowns take place, etc. You are again going to be faced with this situation now, while we may be raising that question right now. But again, ideally, it should not be just this topic, but perhaps the fact that you will also be faced with the situation where again a tournament will be announced, again tickets will be up for sale, and again you'll be playing India and Pakistan. That's going to happen again. It could actually be it could be happening in any moment, or in a week's time or 2 weeks.
I agree, but that's what I'm saying. That is still an ICC tournament, right?
There's no escaping that.
I know there's no escaping that. Exactly my point. That is, you've not reached the situation where you've been able to isolate them, and you've not reached the situation where you pull out and the tournament carries on, right? So that I think is still, in that sense, in that realm where you know that is something that you have to go about. But I'm saying this is an emerging Asia Cup. No? There is no compulsion. You pull out of this tournament after what has happened. What is the need? I can't understand. What is the need of this young team to be sent there and you play Pakistan one more time? And especially now I'm looking at it from BCCI's point of view, which is at loggerheads. It's never been this bad, the relation between the two boards. Forget, I'm just saying at an international level, diplomatic level, that is apart. It's between the two boards. This is something if you pull out.
But you've also said, na, multilateral tournaments, we will honor our commitments.
No, but that's what I'm saying. No, that is at an international level. That debate is separate. That do I play ICC or not? World Cup will happen. Have you reached the stage where you can isolate Pakistan from ICC? No.
But doesn't the same logic apply then, as was being made when we decided to go ahead play Pakistan in the Asia Cup and not be the ones to sit out? That why deprive our nationals, but that applies to these young players as well.
But I'm saying now so many things have happened.
No, but then this gives them exposure of not just playing a high intensity game against Pakistan, but other teams as well.
When you went for that Asia Cup, you had gone with that thing, which even I had said, you go there, you're not going there to make friends. You don't have to make friends with them. You go, it's a continental championship, you're the favorite, you want to go win, you want to beat Pakistan, you do it. But nobody really bargained for what will happen in that tournament. Starting from a no handshake, what was spoken, later, gestures being made in the practice sessions, things being said in the ground, different gestures being made, players almost, coming to blows, that sort of situation, references to the army, to Operation Sindoor, all of that happened, culminating in that whole fiasco of the trophy not being given, packed and taken. We didn't know all of that. Now it's happened, now you know, no? You're wiser after the event, no? You still want to go and play a emerging cup with Pakistan. I find that very baffling.
Also because and talking to the point, Harshad, you're talking about international tournaments. See, I'd understand if it was actually like an under 19 mandated sort of thing, or an under 15s, under 23, something. It's kind of in the hawa. There's nothing. It's in the air. This is a nothing tournament. There is no actual age limit, and half the teams will be sending teams here. Like I remember the last edition of the Emerging Asia Cup. Mohammad Wasim Jr. was starting out for Pakistan.
But
that to Pakistan, they didn't send now. We did send across a team which was very young. I remember
and even now
4-5 of the players that played international cricket. India, you had perhaps just a Yashasvi or maybe just another player here and there. Yeah. How many internationals do you see over there?
One is your captain in Jitesh.
Yeah.
I think Ramandeep has played in international. That's it.
No, but the point is not about international. They're actually emerging. Yeah. It's not in the scheme of things. See, I'm saying if you really wanted to see what Pakistan sends effectively is a mixture of the main team and A team.
Yes.
A team is just the guys who are not making it. India does not even send their A team.
Correct.
India actually sends the BC team who are actually emerging. So if you had to send your A team, then okay, Shreyas is injured, but it would have been a team with a Yashasvi Jaiswal, with a Shreyas Iyer, players who almost made it to your team but missed out, a Prasidh Krishna, who are part of your T20 squad but just not getting a chance to
Ravi
play.
Bishnoi in the spin department.
They are your A team members. Even a Rishabh Pant for that matter, right? Those would have been your emerging members.
Guys.
But what you're saying is like totally emerging players, not even your A team. Pakistan, see, that actually is the point of the difference between the depth of the two countries.
Of course.
Pakistan, I mean, India can make 3 teams. We were discussing in Asia Cup, you send 3 teams also, T20 level, they do well. Pakistan have gone back to Babar. So what that tells you is that the resources are limited. So how will they send an emerging team that will be beyond their main team, A team and emerging team? Can't happen. I don't think there are good enough.
See, again, because both boards, both nations look at this tournament with a different lens. India does actually look at finding people who can make a strong case of being around the fringes of the Indian men's senior cricket team. Right, this is not about giving anyone. This is not just giving anyone an opportunity. Just go there, shake hands with people, have a good time. Get some numbers. Right. This is about people genuinely trying to make their case for the Indian cricket. Pakistan's just different outlook altogether.
Yeah.
Only they can answer what is it that they achieve by sending players who've played 20, 30 T20 internationals.
Yeah, but I mean, as I said, Pakistan was more than happy to be. Sending a team, and they are more than happy to play. The point is,
why are we?
Whatever team you're sending, what is the need for us to be sending a team? I can't understand that. Clearly, not right now. The circumstances are not fine to be sending a team. What is the BCCI doing? Is it, and all, with that extension, what is the government also doing? Anytime you're sending a team, it may not be a national team, but you need some sort of clearances. Why are even they allowing this to happen? I can't understand. If this is the case, then let everything else be normal. No?
But then, Nikhil, the thing with that is again, then your Sultan of Johor Cup wouldn't have also taken place.
If that is the case, then let everything else be
then
normal.
Sport just stalls.
Then the trade of people who are doing the trades, let them continue. Then if we do a show and if there's an India-Pakistan match, we get a Pakistani cricketer or a journalist to come on the show, then let that also be normal. That's also then part of standard operating procedure. Na? Let that be the case. Then everything should be fine, just as it is. Match hai, so you carry. Then don't come up with different rules for other people and this is fine. I don't know.
And what's funny is that consider the optics. Today is November 4th, the time when you were expecting, you're going to go to the ICC meeting, you're going to put a strong message across. This morning the squad is coming out. The optics aren't great. It just tells you that it's like you're saying one thing and doing quite another. You're putting out blusterous messages, but at the same time, and a lot of people made this point even during the Asia Cup, is that if you weren't going to shake their hands, then why play in the first place?
Yeah.
Or if you didn't want any interaction whatsoever, then don't play.
And worse still, and that's the question of Abhishek Rawat, who's conducting this emerging cup, ACB or ICC? The answer is ACB.
ACB.
Who's the head of ACB?
Mohsin Naqvi.
Mohsin Naqvi, who's refused to give you the trophy. The trophy is still there.
So what if India wins this one? That means 2 trophies we won't get now.
I mean, I can't believe this. Seriously.
That means now he'll go Bhagoda with 2 trophies. Doesn't quite work like that, no?
Yeah, you have to win the trophy first.
Yeah.
No, because here you genuinely send your...
Here you genuinely
other teams may send their half-baked.
I remember Bangladesh also had some players who were playing international cricket. I mean, I know this guy. I've seen him play international cricket. What's he emerging from? Under a rock? Because I've seen him play.
Yeah. Vijay Lakshmi also said, Nikhil sir, what's happened today in AC meeting? Nothing. ICC meeting, we don't know anything as yet. But we'll keep you updated. I think we will only get to know certain decisions by the end of third day or so.
Yeah.
So probably by like Thursday types. That's when you might get to know something. Right now, see, it's still preliminary stages. The main meeting also, which they were looking at as the D-Day, dare I say, is probably November 7th. So that's like 3 days still from now. So yeah, it'll take some time before we have any details on that.
Also, Sarat Chandra, don't say that ever again. Please.
Which is?
Please.
Aguero!
Please. It's traumatic.
Kaushik you've taken, right? No.
No, he says that if the BCCI don't get the Asia Cup, they have no business taking part in the emerging cup. Get the cup or boycott this emerging tournament. Correct. I hate being that boycott person, but this is pointless. It's really pointless.
Yeah, again, I don't think a boycott will serve the purpose or expedite the process of getting the trophy, which should have come a long way back.
No, I agree with Mankul Sachdeva also, where he's saying Rose, Master of Ceremonies, Asia Cup. he's written it.
This is a different Asia Cup. This is an emerging Asia Cup. You agree with Mankul?
I agree with him.
It's an emerging Asia Cup, my friend.
Still, why? You've had 2 Asia Cups in a year.
No, that's not the point. I think For the emerging team, it has to come. The problem is that there is a Pakistan. I don't agree with either his language or his thought. Okay, Indian supporter says, do we miss a strong character like Jay Shah on camera as BCCI secretary? Imagine this fiasco with him in the rain. At least not such helpless statements. He would have done away with the trophy. Firstly, that is something that even I have said, that these kind of statements are rather bizarre. You should not even be addressing it. You should say we don't need it only. If the ICC wants to send it across, ACC wants to send it across. Who cares? You won the Asia Cup. It's done, dusted. You want to keep it in your house, keep that silverware. As we've joked in the past, that's the only way he can be touching the Asia Cup, Mohsin Naqvi. Otherwise, there's no chance of him holding it. Don't even bother. I actually don't care. For me, the happiness was achieved when they won that final. If the trophy comes or not, doesn't matter. But, you need strong characters. I don't know how different it would have been if Jay Shah was around. That's still conjecture. We don't know. But he's still part of ICC. So let's see.
And what this entire fiasco tells me is there's this old saying which we've heard a lot in English, saying that don't wrestle with a pig. It will drag you down into the mud and then enjoy getting dirty. And that's exactly what sadly happened. For them, they are seeing this as, we're teaching India a lesson. Yeah. What lesson, boss? Your team got thrashed in the final. So what lesson are you teaching us by not giving a trophy which we won?
He got a award also. For what? For overlooking PCB that has been struggling.
He's gotten an award.
It's the only place where he's gotten an award for managing a country's team where the team is not doing well, but you've awarded.
Also, this is technically he's gotten an award for dereliction of duty.
Yeah.
If the team refuses to take the trophy from you, the technical thing would be to send across the trophy because they've won it. That would be what you do normally, right? Like and just a small example, if you're in school or something, and if you win a competition, if I'm not able to collect the trophy, what is it that the organizers of those tournaments do? They'll send me the trophy. They'll be like, no, you have to collect it. So I will sit with it here. It's rubbish.
Bizarre. Komal Singh says, our players will play without the trophy, but BCCI and its broadcaster will rake in the money. Shamelessness at its peak. Good point, Komal Singh. Mitten Biryani says, absolutely ridiculous if Pratika doesn't get winner's medal. Even FIFA gives medal to injured players as he was part of the official register.
Yeah, but official register squad, if they replace the player, I don't think they get a medal. That's why I go back to that example. France didn't replace Benzema because they said that in case we win it, that'll be the only thing he hasn't won. A FIFA World Cup.
Yeah. Okay, do we have more questions? What is he saying? New Zealand versus West Indies T20I and NZ will begin tomorrow. West Indies have not won a single T20I game so far in New Zealand. Hope they will do this time. Thank you.
Okay.
Pawan. Okay, that's that for this evening. You guys take care. We'll see you tomorrow as we build up for the 4th T20I, which will be sort of a series decider because whichever team wins that is not going to lose the series for sure. So,
although plenty of changes
Kuldeep Yadav has been sent. We'll discuss all that tomorrow on the dugout.
Kuldeep Yadav, Australia won't have Travis Head. Head has also pulled out of the squad. He'll be playing a Sheffield Shield game for
Maxwell will come in.
Yes, Maxwell will come in. Yes.
Lots to talk about. Show. We will see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.
Good night. Nandri. Shubh Ratri. Shabba Khair. Eat your vegetables.
Don't trouble your mother. Subscribe to Sports Today.